was a 007 spy from India, and he was in Canada, and he was actually murdered, or according to Justin Trudeau, allegedly murdered by the Indian government. And I believe he was part of the Khalistan movement. That's what they were saying. He was like a prominent figure of the Khalistan. If everyone doesn't know, basically the Punjab region of India, there's a Punjab region in Pakistan as well, but in India, there's a separatist movement going on where basically they want to separate from mainland India. And let's just watch this video here, actually.
We call upon the government of India to work with us, to take seriously these allegations and to allow justice to follow its course. There are credible reasons to believe that agents of the government of India were involved in the killing of a Canadian on Canadian soil. That is something of the utmost and foundational importance in a country of rule of law, in a world where international rules-based order matters. We have a rigorous and independent justice system and robust processes that will follow their course. And we call upon the government of India to engage with us to move forward on getting to the truth of this matter.
Yeah, so like, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this story. I don't know if any of you guys have been following it. I personally am not like the biggest Trudeau fan, but I'm not going to lie. This was one of his stronger, in my opinion, one of his stronger stances on like an international matter. Generally, it's always people kind or whatever other stuff he's dealing with. But this seems like something where he's trying to push national sovereignty, and I kind of respect it, whether these allegations are true or not. Yeah.
He better have some very strong proof.
I think there was,
because this could be a geopolitical disaster.
Yeah, I think there was some strong intel, like, to tie it back to the Indian government. To your point, I don't think he would have made those comments publicly if there wasn't some intel.
And I heard actually independent security services verified.
Yeah,
they heard some of the same intercepts.
But I thought India responded back saying, like, listen, like, they're a terrorist to our country, and we will sort of deal with them as we see fit, regardless of where they may be residing.
That's the thing.
Wasn't that a comment that wasn't the response?
No, I think I did hear that response. But that's the thing. I think once they are, and I think these people were Canadian themselves. I don't think this was like somebody from India who was traveling here. I think they were Canadian. So now they're treating it as, you killed a Canadian. Terrorist to you, citizen to us.
He's a Canadian citizen, yeah.
So, I mean, my thing is, I know that the ties between Canada and India are like extremely strong. They're long last. They're very old ties that they've had, and there's a huge presence.
You're
in Canada. Yeah, I'm in Brampton. So I grew up with that. You know what I mean? My wife is Pakistani, so like they see it as just part of life.
Right.
I want to know what's going on in the background, because for you to obviously make this accusation, you know there's going to be a pushback from the Indian government.
Right.
So you're willing to cut a tie that's been so economically fruitful. I want to know why. Like, why take that risk?
Well, you're also putting yourself out on a limb with respect to the US and the UK, who are very strong historical partners of Canada, because Modi has made a concerted effort over the last couple of years to really strengthen the economic and immigration ties between UK and most recently the US.
I don't know about
now that. With Trudeau coming out so strongly, he's kind of put Biden in a bit of a touchy situation, because Biden can't be seen to really favor one side or the other, because he's courting India for the economic absolute juggernaut that it is, with X billion people in a consumer base, right? Modi was just in the US last month, and apparently it went very, very well. And now Trudeau's come out, who is, I mean, the US's closest ally since forever, and made these incendiary allegations
publicly too.
And I have to believe, given the sophistication of the US security services, they probably have their own independent analysis on this situation as well. So it's a very complicated, it's not just Canada and India. And I think that was the main reason why, before Trudeau came out and made it public on CBC.
Yeah.
He was in the background at G7, I believe it was, having private one-on-one conversations with Biden.
Yeah, I don't think he just made this
Prime
independently.
Minister to let them know what he was about to do, because it's a very sensitive situation.
Look, all I know is that Hollywood, Bollywood, Nollywood, all the woods, they get it from real life. So it may be far-fetched, it might not be, but I absolutely believe that there is always some truth in everything that we see and hear.
Yeah.
So it's always about digging out what the truth is. And I have no opinion per se on it. I just know that things like that happen for real. And if anybody's watching this podcast, I know nothing. I've seen nothing. I live very quietly. That's all.
It's a difficult situation for Trudeau, because, as I'm sure we all think when we first hear that headline, what's the proof? The problem is, because of the nature of the incident, they can't be open like with Toronto Police Service giving a news conference about a murder, right? Because a lot of these are protected sources that need to be protected, not only now but in the future, and so it can't be made public. So to a certain extent, I can empathize with this situation, but there has to be some kind of greater communication, because I don't know, maybe you guys may know more about the situation than I do, but I'm not seeing a lot of substantiation.
I wasn't even thinking about the proof, I'll be honest. When I hear a story like that, I don't actually, especially when it's geopolitics and government, I'm not thinking what's the truth.
Right.
I'm just thinking what's the motive.
Right.
Like, you're making this statement publicly for a reason. He didn't do it independently. You think he told Biden, you said they're talking. You think his closest ally, who you just said they're courting each other, you don't think that he would tell him, look, I'm going to do this. Is there going to be a problem? There has to be an okay from all sides, right? So I don't care about what the truth is necessarily per se on this matter. I just want to know what the motive is. Like, you're basically making a statement that's going to be controversial and may have its ripples geopolitically.
I think the thing is that think what if it was in the States, right, and it was an American who got basically, who was killed basically in the same fashion, and it was the same ties to Khalistan and all that stuff. Would Biden not? And they had evidence that the Indian government was involved.
Oh,
would Biden not?
I don't know about Biden, but what would Trump do? What would he tweet?
Trump would be attacking India.
What would he tweet? Yeah. Trump would be wearing Khalistan shirts, okay? And he'd be like, "That's it."
No, but I mean, Biden's the current leader right now. Like, if it happened on American soil to an American citizen who's has ties to Khalistan, and if you just literally shifted that over to from Vancouver to Seattle, would the leader of that nation not speak out if they have evidence that's very substantial that shows a tie that the government was involved, right? How do you stay silent?
All we did was we just made a statement. India has already made what did they do? They banned
you can't get a visa.
Visas. They're the ones doing the sanctioning or whatever you want to call it. So Canada's just made the statement so far, and we're just like, hey, say sorry. On the other side, they're actually doing things. So let's see where it goes.